All right, everyone, it's time to do a little bit of scoffing at the new Red Scare, because, I mean, it's really getting funny. There was an article the other day, link in the description, archived, of course, to a story that they put out, and they were like, oh, even Pokemon Go was utilized to, like, try to suppress Democratic votes, to try to get Trump elected. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not entirely what the story even says. It's just the headline. Again, lie by structure. And number two, you're talking about essentially some Pokemon Go shenanigans with this one supposed Russian troll farm led to a Tumblr blog that tried in the last days of the election to say, well, black people shouldn't even bother to go vote, as though, again, the Democrats own this voting block for some odd reason. And it's like one Tumblr blog. Yes, I'm sure that changed a whole lot of minds. Even Nate Silver, and who is not necessarily the most accurate pollster at this point, has a clear bias in favor of the left, let's face it. As someone who makes a lot of money, yeah, naturally he's going to become a Democrat. Yeah, if you make it off of brute productivity, you're probably a Republican. If you're his kind of wealthy, you're probably a Silicon Valley style Democrat, a technocrat or something. Here's the thing, though. He's coming out now and he's saying, well, I think Russian influence wouldn't even be on the top 100 list of things that contributed to Trump winning. So, what we're seeing is that very small amounts of money were spent here and there by certain groups. You're talking about like one Tumblr blog or a couple of YouTube channels, nothing which organically gained any significant traction. Now, the thing is, the idea that it was necessary for Russia to get involved to stop Hillary Clinton from becoming the president of the United States is ludicrous anyway. She was already slated, dude. Some people like myself were predicting as early as the very beginning of the Republican primaries that she was going to be at a disadvantage. I predicted she'd be the nominee of the Democrats. I said there's a 90% chance she wins. The only person here who's even seemingly viable other than her is Bernie Sanders. He's too far left, and he's old and unremarkable in every other way. He'll get some of the youth vote, but ultimately she will crush him in most states, which is what she did. She became easily the nominee. It was obvious she was going to be partially coronated as well, because she's a Clinton. There's going to be shenanigans behind closed doors. We already fucking know that. On the other side, on the flip side, Trump roared up out of nowhere, and as soon as he started doing that, as soon as it became clear that he actually intended to stay in, number one, and campaign hard, and number two, that he was beginning to drain support by his particular style of campaigning away from people like Jeb, I believed that he had a very, very good chance of winning. Now, first, when he first got in, I didn't take it seriously. And I don't think at that time anybody did. In all honesty, nobody took it seriously first because there was always the chance it was going to be like, what was it, 2012, when he just never signed the paperwork. Once he jumped in and immediately started rising to the top, it was like, wow, I mean, he was, variously the front runner there for quite some time already, and there were still people acting like he was magically going to drop back out. By the time that New Hampshire voted, it was kind of obvious he was the front runner. I mean, he came in second in Iowa, won New Hampshire, and then he went on to crush Jeb in South Carolina. That was the end of any centrist campaign that was going to stand against him. The only other person who'd won a state was Ted Cruz. He's unelectable. He's too religious. He doesn't look right for the role, in all honesty. And he was a dual citizen until the campaign was already underway. Little bit of a problem for some people. But now Russia's being blamed. Not only is it like Russia, like they stole the election and, hashtag resist and stuff. I mean, they're trying to say Pokemon Go was involved. This has become a new sort of Red Scare mentality, where Russia is blamed for everything that people perceive of as a problem. If a person says, well, this business is shoddy or something, it's like, well, Russians must be involved. Oh, this person disagrees with me politically, but Russian, troll, those are or Nazi, those are the four go-tos. You'll notice this. If you try to argue with people who are like, they've got the hashtag resist the blue wave or whatever in their profile on Twitter, try arguing with them sometime on political issues and saying, no, MAGA, build the wall or something. They will almost always default to that. You are a bigot. You are controlled by Russia. You are a troll. You're not being authentic. You're just trying to get a rise out of me. Or you're a bot. Like you're not even a real person. Literal dehumanization there. It happens all the time. It's a moral panic. It's just like the Red Scare. It's like no evidence required. No, some Russians were playing Pokemon Go and directed people to a Tumblr blog of all places. Really, really hard-hitting political commentary there. They can't even show their naked photos there anymore. Really hard-hitting. really wonderful, and it definitely affected people's voting tendencies. Now, a lot of people stayed home, despite tacitly supporting maybe the Clinton campaign. They didn't like Trump, simply because the polls showed her 10 points ahead. A lot of them stayed home probably because they figured, it's a shoe-in. I got a little head cold right now. She's a shoe-in. I just feel tired. She's a shoe-in. I don't want to go vote, walk 20 minutes, and now, fuck it. I'm just going to sit down and shitpost on Twitter about the election. A lot of people towards the end did that. And the other thing is that Trump's voters were simply more energized. Like, even the core voters for Trump were simply more energetic. They came out, the turnout was higher. That's why he won. Not because of a Russian conspiracy, and certainly not because of Pokemon don't go to the polls. Yeah, you remember that incident with Hillary Clinton? It had nothing to do with the fact that she was a cringy old lady in poor health. That she was perceived of as brutally dishonest and insulted millions of Americans. That had nothing to do with her loss. It was all Russia all the way down. That's about all. Peace out.